in my life, there are certain overlaps that in order to do certain subjects, you have to kind of weave it. So at 6.5, I decided for the summer I was gonna go up and live on the reservation, which sometimes I'll refer to as the rest.
At this point, was your mom alive still?
My biological mother,
Uh-huh.
yeah, but she'd given me up, she threw me out with the dishwasher. So, you know, she didn't want anything to do with me.
So you were...
I was adopted,
Uh-huh.
and then my adopted mom died 2 months after I was officially adopted.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
And my adopted dad started beating me heavily. So I decided, well, I'd take a break and go up onto the res to do it. Well, when I was there, the shamans, and we had 3 shamans on our res then, and they come up to me and talked and asked questions and said, you know, you're a shaman. And I says, and shaman is not a native word at all. It's a TV word, but it is recognized internationally as the spiritual leaders of different cultures of native. And so I told him, no way, go away, go away. And I wouldn't accept it. But up in the United States and in Canada, they have what's called residential schools. And that's where they send all the natives. And they go there Monday through Friday, and if they don't behave, they gotta stay there 7 days a week. Well, it's nothing but a sweatshop. You work 14 hours a day. Now, the whole things were set up to where they sent it to all the Christian churches so that they could teach us how to read, write, and speak properly. But it really ended up as sweatshops. If in a 14-hour, we got enough of it done, we got 2 hours of school on reading, writing, and this kind of thing. And that's why Indians, everybody kept saying they're too stupid. No, it's they never really taught us. And if you got caught speaking your native tongue, or if you were a little defiant, or like many times I say, this isn't right, and I'm talking to other classmates, but if one of the people overhear it, they'd take us down into the basement where they had every 4 feet, they had a 4x4 inch beam coming down a post, and they had these straps. There was a gap about 8 inches, and then they had the straps that tied around this with the little locks, and they put it on your feet and your hands, and you would be down there for 1 to 4 days. And they would come down once or twice a day with a tin cup of water, and they'd pour it, and you gotta try to drink as much of it.
And again, how old were you?
I was 6 years old.
6 years old, jeez.
And, but the thing of it is, a lot of times people don't realize, because I have a little bit better educational background from the school teacher next door and this, that I understood when you're sitting like that, you'll get what, the bed sores. Mm-hmm. Well, the problem is we're sitting on dirt. And so, a lot of them didn't clean them properly, and they got infected and they died. That's why there was a high death casualty, and it's because of the treatment they were given, or the lack of treatment and care. And so, but it woke my eye up, and after that, I was there for only 6 weeks, because then the summer was out. And I made sure I never went back there unless summer was already in, but
Is
in
that
one
where you
sense,
learned you were shaman?
Well, they kept saying I wouldn't accept it.
Mm-hmm.
But then later, when all of a sudden doing this thing with emancipation, and I'm going back every summer, you know, back to my res and that, and talking to more and more, and I understood the value of who I am inside. I had that inner strength of doing school and stuff like this, but it was that key thing going on for those 6 weeks that I was so determined, and I refused not to stop talking in my native tongue. I refused to say it's not right. I would, when it wasn't right. And I spent 3 or 4 days down there, and I'd be up 1 or 2 days, and then I'd be down there for 3 or 4 days for those 6 weeks. But I understood absolutely what it was like to be a native. People today have no clue what it was like 180 years or 70 or even 60 years ago. It was an entirely different thing. And the rules even today on a res, it's like an entirely different country, a different world. The rules are different. Understanding is different.
So it's with all of this abuse and this torment, it sounded like what got you through it was just knowing your value.
Yes, between those few people that were at those wide junctions that was teaching me the right, the wrong, the positive compared to the negative, that I stayed on track. And I just refuse to say, okay, I give up. I wouldn't do it. I was stubborn enough and prideful enough inside, but it gave me, those 6 weeks gave me such an inner strength that I don't care what kind of physical or emotional abuse, it was never gonna break me, ever.
Inner strength, where did that come from? Is it from that you're a shaman, or is it just that inner knowing that you mentioned before that you just knew your value?
I don't
There's
know.
just something.
It was inside me. You know, it's easy to say this and this and this, you know, because I had these key people that showed me values.
Yeah.
But showing and understanding values isn't the same as this inner, right? I'm talking about into your soul, your spirit, into my marrow.
Yeah.
And I felt it deep inside me
Yeah.
that I was never going to be broken.
And I'm glad you
Ever.
saw that, because I feel like everybody has their own value, right? It's just a lot of people don't see it or don't realize it, right?
Yeah, well, you know, I hear people that, you know, someone gets abused in the family, and they're going to marry someone that's going to abuse them, and they marry someone that's going to, you know, and then you get others that sees these kind of things, and they say, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to allow it to happen. But those are more the exception to the rule than the ones that allow it. And it's hard to put it into words, but it was so ingrained into my marrow that it came out. I was never going to be broken.
Amazing.